You don't get over an addiction by stopping using. You recover by creating a new life where it's easier for you not to use. If you don't create a new life, then all the factors that brought you to your addiction will catch up with you again. That really hits home. This is Collateral Damage, addiction, recovery, and all the shit in between. So let's get real. Let's get raw. Now your host, Brandy Mack.
Welcome, everyone. So I know this is an episode everybody's kind of been waiting to listen to. This is going to be an episode with my daughter, Brooke. She is the one this podcast has kind of been centered around. And I'm going to apologize now because the sound quality is not phenomenal. This is the first time we've tried to use two mics, and lesson learned. So you may have to adjust your volume some, just to warn you. I tried to modify it as much as I could, but I just felt like this one take is really important instead of us trying to go and record it, because I just felt like there's a lot of good content and message shared in this podcast. It's going to be a rather long episode, but my daughter, she came home about a week ago and she said that she wanted to get sober, and so she didn't go to treatment. That's something we made the decision together. We weren't going to do this time. And so she did detox at home. She is doing very well. She's in very good spirits. And so I hope that you enjoy this. And here we go. Hi, everyone. This is Brandy. So this is kind of the episode I know a lot of people have been waiting for. My daughter, Brooke, is here, and so she's going to be answering some of the questions that you guys have had. This is, I feel like, has been a long time coming. And Brooke, I guess, how are you feeling?
I feel really good, actually. I do. I feel really good.
In what way?
Well,
physically, mentally?
Physically, mentally, yeah. No, I just feel really good. I feel really good this time around.
Good.
Which I feel like everybody says that, but I mean, really though, I do. I think you see, I feel better than I have historically.
No, I definitely see a change for sure. And because, I mean, we've done this for a while now. You've been to treatment. I had calculated it. Between all the different rehabs and sober homes, 9 times in 4 years.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, no, I did. I counted through and I was like, wow. You know, some of those times, obviously, you went in detox maybe for a few days and then bounced.
Shit, even a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, more of them, I think, technically.
Okay, so let's see. One of the questions someone had was, what made you decide to come home?
Thanksgiving, honestly. I had pretty much had a plan in my head at that point that I was wanting to come home. I just had things that I had to tie loose end-wise, I felt like, before I did so.
What was it about Thanksgiving, you think, that kind of triggered that response to want to come home?
Well, I've talked to you about it. It was a really interesting experience, I felt really happy and just at peace with a lot of things that I've had issues with historically,
Yeah, I felt like Thanksgiving went better than good.
No, really, it did. It really, really did.
Yeah, I know I've talked to you about it, but how I had just had this overwhelming feeling in the car one morning that I just needed to invite you to Thanksgiving. And, and obviously I had to make sure everyone else was on board with it and okay with it, which everyone was. And, we were naturally nervous.
I was nervous.
I know you were. You were, and you were so stressed because you were running late. And
I was in tears that morning because I literally thought I missed it. And because yeah, that was bad.
And those who maybe don't know, you're just coming across this podcast. This Brooke is my daughter. She's 23 years old. And when I had made the decision to invite her to Thanksgiving, she was in active drug use at the time. Historically, it's always been you could not come to the home unless you could pass a drug test, which now I look back at how ridiculous that is. If you're out in the streets homeless, you're never going to be able to pass a drug test. Like,
well, I mean, for me, yeah. Like, I've always said that. Like, if I'm going to be homeless, I'm going to be on dope. Like, it's just, I mean, why would I be homeless otherwise? You know what I mean? Like, I just, really, there's no reason I would be. You know what I'm saying? Like...
Yeah, I agree. And like when I look back on the mindset of that, and I think a lot of that came from like the tough love narrative that is put out there that you're enabling otherwise. And when I stopped, I finally went with my mom gut. I just felt like it just felt right. And, you know, it was hard. She was clearly messed up when I picked her up. You were messed up. What did you say? You were messed up?
I definitely was. I was fucking sprung. And because I mean, and I've told you about, like, I couldn't afford my fentanyl habit. Like, I'd never shot meth with that because I didn't like it. Because there's like 2 months of my life I don't remember from shooting ice in Idaho. Like, there was someone hitting me in my neck with it. And I didn't do it that way for the longest time. I'd smoke it and stuff, you know, just because it was always around me and I've sold it. But I got to a point where, like, everybody else around me was shooting ice with fentanyl. And I primarily did a lot of the Fetty. However, just a little, like, crumbs of it would have me, like you saw me that day. But it made all the difference because I just couldn't afford it. I just could not. And I would be too sick all the time.
Now, for those parents who maybe do not know, can you say what ice is?
Meth.
Okay. And what is Fetty?
Fentanyl.
Okay. Those are things I know, but I understand that some parents maybe really don't know. And I know there's people that watch this throughout the world in other countries, believe it or not.
Well, and I also don't want to come off as like... what do they call it? Like the war story thing? Because I'm not trying to do that. You know, like I'm just being honest with it. You know, like I hated how dragged out I was when I was here for Thanksgiving because I was. But I mean, I was like that a lot toward the end.
Yeah, it was when I picked her up, she was really stressed because our original location was at one spot. And then I couldn't get in touch with her. So I was like, I know she'll show up. Like I was more concerned something was wrong with you because I had not been able to get in touch with you for a couple of days, but you knew what time I said I was going to be there. And then we had to change location, and she was so upset. She thought I was going to leave, and it just broke my heart.
No, I did, because like I was so stressed out, like because it was an opportunity to see my son. That was like the biggest thing to me. It was like I thought I was going to be letting my son down, even though I don't think he knew I was coming yet necessarily. But even then, I was still just like, it meant everything to me. You know, I wanted to spend time with y'all as well, you know?
No, definitely. And really, I mean, just the whole day, even with you messed up.
I fucking was a wreck.
It went just really well.
No, it was. And like, because I wasn't like, you know... I don't think I made anyone uncomfortable.
No, you didn't make anyone uncomfortable. You know, things that you may not realize, but for me, that I had noticed.
Well, and you also work in the field.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like, you know, like, because I felt like I was, if not a little more energized than typical, like, I was not weird, you know, like...
No, you were definitely more energized. It was hard sometimes to get you to focus on one task, such as getting your shower done and then getting dressed for pictures.
Yeah. No, that was hard. Like, I would...
easily distracted, I had noticed.
Yeah, like, my ADHD is, like, insane. when I'm on it.
And that was what I had noticed, was like I was having to try to redirect you.
No, and I would have to tell you. I remember telling you, like, you have to tell me to do this.
Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, still, that was really nothing. It wasn't a big deal. I just felt like as a whole, the day just went really great. It was really hard taking you back and dropping you off.
No, and that was hard, but, like, I feel like I have to share, like, because, like, I've had, like, this hoarder syndrome since I was a child, and, you know, I literally held onto the fork that you sent me home with a plate with and put it in your sink yesterday.
She did. She did. And she was kind of crying when she was telling me about, because I gave her some shirts and stuff, and even lugging her stuff, she didn't want to leave the items that I had given her.
And my son gave me.
And what her son gave her. And it just, you know, as a mom, that really, it's hard. You know? I
didn't want to leave it. And I've always had it, like I was telling, you know, we were talking earlier today even, like, about how I was telling you, like, in a way, like, I'm grateful for the journey I've had in the sense that I was a crippling hoarder as a little kid. Because I just, for what reason, I don't know, but I was. And, in a way, it's been nice to be able to, like, not attach myself to material items the way I used to, you know, and I got that way definitely in Montana, you know, because I lost everything in Montana. I lost everything. I lost my social security card and pictures of my own kid, you know, like, I literally owned nothing when I came back from there.
I feel like that's happened a few times.
It has, but that was the most cataclysmic episode of it. I mean, I lost clothes I've had since I was 15, 14 years old, and the duffel bag that I lost out there.
No, I know. Because when she was in Montana, she walked out on Christmas night. That was back in 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, it turned 2021 that year.
And she walked out of rehab in the middle of winter in Montana. We lived in Idaho. We weren't anywhere close. And
I was in Great Falls, Montana.
Yeah. And that was scary. That was scary when I see those videos pop up. And, you know, I was stupid at that point because I didn't know, she didn't want to be found, for one.
I didn't, and then how I found out was...
Social media?
No.
How did you find out?
Are you serious? This is funny to actually document this conversation. I was in a fucking trap house, Mom, and some random fucking hoodlum shows a picture of me on their phone and says, hey, I think you want to see this. And it's a picture of me and my son. And you poor thing, you didn't know. You didn't know what the fuck I was doing out there. And I mean, I just was in the thick of it, like usual. And, you know, I was like, what the fuck is she doing? You know, and it wasn't your fault.
No, but, you know, I've learned a lot as far as, I guess, in some ways, of how to handle things.
Well, you thought I was missing,
no,
Mom.
No, I did. I was genuinely concerned. I mean,
I was missing. I was a fucking missing person for months.
I filed a missing person report, and then I ended up, finally, I posted on TikTok. My following was very small then, very small. But that video exploded. And I remember somebody saying they saw you in the bathroom at the mall
in Great Falls. And I know exactly who they're talking about. They were these young girls.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're pretty.
Yeah, that's what they told me too.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of crazy how, you know, social media works, and it can really.
But like, what was terrifying was like the shit I was involved in all over the state of Idaho, Montana. I was in Oregon. Washington State. Washington State was great. It was beautiful. But, like, I mean, I was scared for you guys and my son that was posted.
Yeah, I guess this goes to show, you know, I frequently get people who will comment and say, she has to get out of state. She needs to get out of Florida. She needs to go somewhere out of state. And my daughter has been to numerous places out of state. And this, to me, I don't know if you agree with this. If you want to use drugs, you're going to
You'll find them anywhere. And let me tell you what, I've been in Baltimore. I've been in Spokane. I've been in Ontario, Oregon. I've been in Great Falls, Boise, fucking Idaho, Nampa, Idaho, if anyone knows what that is. I've been everywhere, dude. I've been in the middle of bumfuck nowhere and found dope. Like, literally nowhere. Living on compounds and shit for months, still fucked up. You know, like, I mean, might not have been always what I wanted. Didn't always find heroin, you know, like, didn't always find fentanyl, especially out there. But that's when I really started doing a lot of meth. And shit, but the first time I ever did meth was when I was 15 years old out here.
I know, I remember you telling me.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and I'm not proud of that, you know, like, because there's a fine line between, like, glorifying and just, like, sharing my experience, and I really am just trying to do that. And mind you, I am, like not even a whole week sober, so, like, you know.
I think you are. Yesterday, I think, was about it.
Well, look at that. I got a fucking week. Yeah. But, like, I fucking, you know, and just trying to share, like, because people talk about not sharing war stories, and yes, there is a, like, you know, fine line between glorifying it and romanticizing it, and just telling the honest to God truth, and that, like, it is fucked up and crazy, and it's really hard to not romanticize it in some ways because you have to desensitize yourself in such a severe way.
I guess just because you brought up at being 15 years old and using meth for the first time.
Yeah, shake and bake.
I think this is a question I frequently get, and I don't really know how to answer it.
Why did I start using?
No, it's not that. I'm not going to ask you that on this episode, if ever. But is from other moms of minors who
how to handle
are concerned. They ask, what do I do? How do I handle it? What advice do you think you'd have for parents who have a child?
Honest to God. A lot of parents probably aren't going to like this. But depending on what they're doing, yeah, that's not good. It's bad. I tried to let it ride out at first. I hate to say it, but a lot of kids will shake it the fuck off. You know, really, they did. I thought I shook it off. I got pregnant with my son. I was clean the whole time. You know, like, and I'd been doing opiates since I was 13 years old. Like, if not, like, 12. And I, you know, because you fought so hard to try and keep me away from those things. And mind you, there was so many other factors that were involved. So many others. Like, I mean, that was very minuscule in comparison to other things going on at the time, which, you know, that isn't what, like, we're here to talk about anyways. But, like, I would just definitely say, like, just try and let it ride out, you know, like, don't try to helicopter them. You know, obviously, if you are suspecting that your child might be hanging out with absolute full-blown junkies and is potentially going to start banging or cooking dope, you know, like, step the fuck in, you know, like, I mean.
Yeah, I get quite a few sometimes, and who will bring up their concern just because they find out they're using marijuana, and just in my views back then,
I would just turn the other cheek, dude. Yeah. Like, just let them be. So what if they're smoking weed? I mean, yes, like, again, there's a fine line between, like, you're gonna know if your child's showing addictive behaviors. You know, if they feel like they can't deal unless they're smoking a blunt, then that's a problem. You know, like, that's an issue, you know?
I think that's the difference between me and you, because when I was in high school, I smoked tons of marijuana. I actually didn't like it. It really wasn't for me. It just made me want to go to sleep. But then I experimented with other drugs, but I really was a one and done. I just didn't have that addictive. You
didn't. You don't, like, just have that component in your brain, I guess. You know, like, you don't. But you do have an addictive personality with some things.
Probably.
Just like anybody, like working, you know, but I feel like it's like trauma intertwined, you know, like it's different than, like, I wanted a mind altering substance to function every second of my life. And that's what I've done for years. I mean, really the longest stretch I have ever been clean was my pregnancy. And that was it. Mm-hmm. Like, since I started using.
Yeah. It's
other than, like, 8 months on Suboxone, like 7 or 8 months.
8 months. It was 8 months.
And I did well in that sense.
No, you did. Let's see. How do you feel about your recovery being documented?
That's a loaded fucking question.
I guess start from the beginning. I was always honest with you.
Wait, start from the beginning of how I have felt about it?
Yeah, so I think...
I fucking hated it. No, at first, I fucking hated it. Needless to say, really when I found out about... Oh, wow, this brings back memories. When I found out about the TikTok was when I found out about the picture of me being posted on there. That's when I discovered it. And I was mortified. I was. And mind you, your content has changed.
It has.
Dramatically compared to what it was. I felt like at times in the beginning I was bashed as a mother. And although I felt like I deserved it, and I did feel like I deserved it because I had so much shame and so much guilt, and I fucking hated myself. I was on a mission to die back then. And it wasn't because of you, and I don't want you to think that, like, that I'm implying that. But I was on a mission to die simply because I felt like a complete fucking failure. The one thing that I wanted more than anything in my life was a sense of belonging in my own family, and I had this false, like, mirage of what I thought I could have, and I snatched it away from myself, really, but at the same time, circumstances were not in my fucking favor, and I did not see it that way back then. And I was doing it all to myself. I was swan diving into that shit, like, and staying with the man I was with at the time, and just looking back, it kills me knowing that I had no chance in hell, really, with just the circumstances I had put myself in at that time. And I didn't see it that way, but my point is, though, going back to your question, is, I fucking hated it.
But I don't think you remember because you did know about the TikTok beforehand. I told you as soon as it started getting like...
No, you did tell me about it.
I think you realized maybe how big it had started getting.
I think that I knew that you had, like, posted videos on the topic, but I was like, whatever.
I never kept it a secret. It was something I never...
No, you never did. You never did keep it a secret. I literally didn't have a phone in Montana for the majority of the time. If I did have a phone, it could only connect to Wi-Fi, and I was in fucking Montana. It's not like, Miami. And I don't think and it's hard because my memory is shot to hell, in a lot of ways. Like, I do remember key points, but sometimes I have to have your help to remind me some things.
Yeah, I just had to, because I know, initially I never thought I would tell you because I never thought it was going to be anything. Yeah. So it was just me kind of venting. And
you're like, yeah, by the way.
Yeah, and then I told her as soon as, gosh, I don't know, when I started getting just a couple thousand followers. and obviously it's grown a lot more than that. But yeah, no, I mean, it was hard. You've never told me to delete it. And no. That's something that... I haven't. And I've had very mixed and hard feelings about it over time. Like, especially when talking to other people. Because other people can just be so negative. But, I cannot, especially today, deny the change that it has had on you as a person. Really. And that's what really, just threw me for a loop on Thanksgiving was just you just seemed, I don't know, I was in awe of you. I really was. No, really. I mean, and I'm not just saying that for theatrics. I really was, Mom. You have grown so much. And I don't think that, I'm confident I don't think that would have happened without the outside influence because why would you have talked to people in recovery otherwise? You don't. I mean...
You just don't because you're not a fucking addict. Why would you go to a fucking NA meeting unless you were just one of those parents that tried to try it out, But, would you stick with it? I doubt it. You might have had one good night talking to some people, but,
And am I just going to go around? I wouldn't have had the opportunity to speak to thousands.
No, absolutely not. And that's what's impacted you the way it has.
It has.
Is that, is so... Many people struggle with this, whether they are affected by a loved one or they have it the issues themselves, and it's just wild.
It is. It really, it's very wild. And so I guess that leads me into, are you okay with this now?
Yeah. No, I am. Like I said, it's other people that really, like, will hurt my feelings about it sometimes. Like, they try to make me, like, a victim, you know? And, like, as if you're doing something to hurt me. Like, really. Like as if you're doing something malicious. And I know that it's not that way. Anytime I talk to you, I know it's not that way. And I honestly have felt like that for years now. But still, like, it's really hard because, like, people are just so fucking rude, you know? Like, I mean, and it's also hard because another reason I do not like it now is because of the way some of y'all motherfuckers talk to my mom, you know? Like, I mean, I highly doubt those people are going to really be listening, but, you know, they might be. And, you know, like, it's my mother, you know? She's a human being, you know? Like, people kill themselves over less, you know, like, and that's frustrating. And I've told you before, like, when I saw you on Thanksgiving, I literally cried to you and told you, I feel like you're on this, like, you know, like, trying to, like, rebuke your fucking sins by being punished by all these random fucking people with how cruel they can be. And that's just not fair to you, and you don't deserve it. You know?
No, I mean, Brooke sees me, like, and, you know, you guys don't get to see it because I'll show my emotions some on my social media, but Brooke will see me just cry talking about how much I genuinely
all the time. All the time. Like, literally, it doesn't take much to get you to that point, you know, because, and you really give a fuck.
I do.
And, like, you know, spokesperson or this or that, you know, like, you really give a damn is the difference between, like, and I'm saying this as, you know, my parent, like, I can see, and from, like, where your standpoint is in this all, you know, and yes, I might deal with it myself. I know you genuinely give a fuck, especially because of your own job as well.
Yes.
You have dealt with it. You did not have the compassion you did, and you worked with, like, you cared for them. However, you were judgmental, you know, Narcan shouldn't be legal, you know, like you thought it was a free pass to, you know, to get fucked up, but it's not that way.
I did. That she brings a very valid point, is I did used to think that why are we giving Narcan out to people? It's a free pass to get high and use. And I just, it makes me cringe even saying that out loud now. Because literally my viewpoint has changed so much on all of it.
No, it's a complete, like, 180. It really is.
And it's the more you know. I mean.
Well, and you know, you also saw a lot. Like, you were in the ER, correct? You were seeing a lot of shitty sides of my people, I suppose.
All I saw is
you saw people coming out of overdoses angrier than fuck, probably, and you know.
And I always mention, like, and this is the thing, how I was very anti-Suboxone. Medicated assisted treatment was.
You were.
All I ever saw were people abuse it, and I did think you're just replacing one drug for another.
Well, and then that was one thing that I, like, wish we knew back then, because, like, I even kind of went into rehab the first time thinking it might be a one and done. But at the same time, I remember, as good as I felt, I still had no intention of staying clean, even at the end of rehab. I didn't. I knew there was just this deep fucking craving in me that just wanted to get high and go do a shot as soon as I got out. And that's literally what I did, pretty much.
Do you think your age, being so young, played a part in that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That was one of my biggest things was I was like, I'm 20 years old. I was 20 years old. I just turned 20 when I went to rehab. I was like, how the fuck? I can't even legally drink yet. And you're telling me I can't get high? I can't smoke weed? You know, I'm like, that's stupid. And I see it differently now. No, I do. Because, I mean, like, I can't just smoke weed. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I personally cannot just smoke weed. I'll start out smoking weed, and I will use it like I'm using dope.
It's a gateway.
No. For myself, it is a gateway. Yes, I will. Like, I'd like to say, like, and I said this the other day, that one day I'd like to be able to, like, smoke on weed here and there, but I don't know if I ever would be.
No, and that's something I had noticed about you, because you used to always say to me when you were in your later teens how you always wanted to smoke marijuana, and I always felt, I think it's great if you can smoke marijuana and it helps you stay off of your drug of choice, by all means, like, you know.
Oh, of course, like Grandpa.
Yeah.
Grandpa vibes in this bitch.
Yeah, but that's all he does.
He's retired. Let the man live.
But that's funny. Let's see. Someone had asked, do you feel inspired by all the comments?
I do. However, I will admit that I don't really see a lot of the comments. I'm at a point in my life right now where I'm completely staying off my cell phone. I don't even have a cell phone. You know, like, I don't. Like, the most I might have one for is to listen to music because I'm passionate about that. However, but yes, I am inspired by the comments because she does, like, she, and not in an overwhelming way, tries to remind me, like, you know, so many people care about me, which is hard to wrap my head around because, oh, these people don't know me. But then again, at the same time, like, that was how I felt before, you know, like, these people don't know who the fuck I am, like, but your content has changed, and one thing that I will admit is when you say you try to humanize me, you have. Like, you really have. Like, I feel like, you know, I really confidently feel like people really give a fuck when they say they do. Like, I mean, really, like, the comments break me when you tell me about, like, these people, like, oh, I wish I would have did this, you know, because my 20-year-old's dead. You know, like, that's heartbreaking. And I feel like, how could you sit there and say that someone like that doesn't care? You know, like, I mean, you know they do. You know that's hitting home for them, you know, like.
And you know, for those loved ones who lost children and say utilize tough love, they're posting, they're following because they are rooting and wanting people to change the narrative that tough love is not a good thing. I know for some people,
but like I don't want to say it's not a good thing because that's just I think that's a little too far. Like, because tough love is necessary to an extent. Like, I mean, me and my mom have talked about this many times. Like, that our situation is very unique. Like, at least in my opinion. Like, because mind you, haven't been in everybody's shoes, but I don't steal from my family. I don't actively try to manipulate them and con them into my fucking drug schemes when I'm doing. I stay the fuck away. Yeah, I don't ask for nothing. I want whatever they have to provide for my child, you know? Like, not everybody has kids, you know? Like, I mean, and that doesn't make me better than anyone either, you know? Like, by any means. You know, like, people, I feel for each and everybody, like, who does do that to their family. Like, don't think I haven't thought about it, you know? Like, I certainly have. You know, when I've been down and out and, like, no, my mom's got a couple $100s that I could possibly get out of her, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, it's not worth it. You know, like, it's not, but that's me. You know, and so, like, tough love is necessary for, like, if you don't feel like you can feel like you're, especially if you have younger kids, like in our situation, like, they're going to be safe around somebody, yeah, utilize tough love. But don't push them away completely. Don't just shut them out, in my opinion.
I think this is the difference. Tough love really is a push of, like, don't even meet basic human needs. If you look at true tough love, there's boundaries.
Yeah, I guess if you're talking about the, like, umbrella of tough love, like, I mean, yes, boundaries and tough love are a difference. You're correct. I would change that, yeah.
Some people with tough love, they actually, not all, but some literally, they have nothing to do with their loved one at all.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Like, I mean, you didn't have nothing to do with me, but there was many times where you were like, I don't want to hear from you.
No, there was.
Like, I mean, and I didn't blame you for that, though. And I tried to respect that the best I could.
You know, I've struggled.
But then again, you would always reach out,
yeah,
you know.
I have always kind of struggled with this because in some ways I can't help but feel like I needed to establish the stricter boundaries in order for there to be a level of respect and you not break them.
I honestly think in a weird fucking way, that's how I established the weird moral code that I seem to live by. And, like, I needed that little bit of it, you know?
In the beginning.
In the beginning, yes. Like, because I know with my drug uses I would have taken advantage if you had shown weakness in those points, you know what I'm saying?
We fought all the time.
Oh, my fucking God, dude.
Like, when I say we hated each other, it's not like, I mean, we love each other, but
the fact that we're sitting down here doing a goddamn podcast is remarkable.
It is.
No, because, I mean, literally, like, when you say it was like World War III, like, I mean, no, it really was. Like, we were bowing up on each other daily, screaming in each other's faces. I mean, it was insane.
That stressed the family out more than her addiction.
Really, it did.
It did.
No, like, it was horrible. It was awful. And that's another reason why I started to stay away, because I blamed a lot of myself for that, because my anger was so explosive at that time.
Both of us.
Yes, but, like, I was on one. Like, I hit a certain age, and I took the fuck off. I was just mad at everybody. You know, like, I was.
So it is tough, you know. I can't help but feel like Brooke and I wouldn't be in this position now to be able to do, like, me be able to meet her in active drug use without the clear boundaries I established in the beginning.
Correct.
Yeah.
I fully 110% agree with that. Like, it, but we have our own relationship too, you know. Like, I knew you meant what the fuck you said from a young age.
She did. Like, I wasn't bluffing. Yeah. But yeah, I do. I think boundaries are very important. I have always said, like, when I say meet them where they are, and, you know, when it comes to my daughter Brooke, that does not mean, and I'll let Brooke chime in on this, to allow emotional or physical abuse by your loved one in active addiction.
From either side.
Either side.
Yes.
Either side. Mutual respect on both sides.
Absolutely. Like, and if you feel like you can't do that, then just stay the fuck away from each other for now, you know, until you can. Because really, I feel like we both had to, like, though I was in active use, I was on my own fucking journey, you know?
Both of us, I feel like.
I absolutely was. Like, I was still experiencing life on the terms that I was experiencing them, you know, like, and, you know, like, that's not saying much. Like, I mean, I spent most of my days shooting dope, but, I mean, I learned a lot about myself in the times I've stayed away, and in our story, that was necessary. I had to get away. Fuck, most of my use, I was literally out of state. Like, I mean, I seriously think it's a miracle I didn't fucking shoot up in Baltimore, because I know I would have been out there forever.
No, I was very worried I wasn't going to get you back when you hit the streets of Baltimore.
Yeah, it was over.
Now, what do you think of the words enabling and codependency?
Whack.
Why?
Enabling and codependency are two very valid fucking words. Like, codependency, I actually feel good about codependency, because codependency is an issue that I struggle with, you know, like, with my relationships with everybody, you know, like, really, like, I mean, to an extent, you know, to the people who I'm codependent with, I mean, like, I'm codependent with them, you know, but I don't feel like I'm codependent with you.
I don't think so either.
Like,
though,
I can up and leave and be straight, you know, any time that I want. I say straight, but, like, you know, I can survive without you. I'm not gonna have a fucking goddamn, like, anxiety attack because my emotional support mom isn't here. But, like, you know, you know, codependency is something people have to work through, and I'm still learning to work through that. However, do I think that codependency applies to our relationship? No.
Yes, so when I went and flew up to Baltimore and got you, I was accused of enabling and being codependent by that douche canoe interventionist. We won't say his name. And then, of course, the owners of the treatment center you were at up there. And it really just pissed me off, because I'm like, it's my fucking child.
I would have done the same thing, because Baltimore is no joke.
Exactly.
Like, at all. You know, like, I mean, and I've been in questionable areas. I've been in horrible areas other than Maryland or the, like, Upper East Coast. You know, hell, I've never ran around the Upper East Coast, and that's a miracle.
I kind of want to mention this. I'm not going to say the name of the facility, but the place is in Towson, Maryland. And how they advertise their facility is that it's in the suburbs of Baltimore. Okay. What they don't tell families is that the apartments where all the people who are in recovery stay
is in the hood of Park Heights.
Is in the hood, like right around the corner of Park Heights. I feel like they should advertise that. Because when I never would have sent her if she was going to be living right in Baltimore. I was already nervous about it. But then, because the place is advertised as Towson, and that is a nice suburbs area. But no, they bus you guys there?
Yes, they do. They would bus us from the residence, which was in Park Heights, and take us to Towson every weekday.
Yeah, so, that's something families, when I bring up red flags at looking for treatment, ask them where they're specifically keeping them, because why would you put people...
I hate to say it, but I think that place would have lied to you.
They probably would have lied. I believe it, but...
No, really, because that's one thing, man, and I don't know if you can cut this out if you want to, but, that's something that was a huge issue. Every patient there, oh yeah, you get over that. That the person that you talk to on the phone tells you a whole bunch of bullshit. Mm-hmm. Whole bunch of bullshit. 30-day blackout. No, it can be 6 months if we choose to. It's all individualized treatment.
Yep, it was all lies.
Yeah.
We'll have to get into that on at another time.
Absolutely.
But let's see. What do you find most helpful from... Did I write this right? What do you find most helpful from others in active addiction?
In active addiction?
Mm-hmm. That's a question.
That's a very good question. So many things. So many things. So many people that I've gotten angry at that I've literally plotted on their lives in active use because you're so crazy. At least if you use anything like the people I've used around and myself. But they are all human. And I've met... People talk about all the beautiful people they meet in recovery. I've met so many beautiful people that will probably be on drugs the rest of their lives. However long they may be. I've met so many beautiful people that I found dead. And they're still dead. And people in active use, that's another reason why when you talk about meeting me where I am, I think that there needs to be something for people in active use, because there are so many amazing people in active use. Phenomenal people that have the biggest hearts and adventurous spirits about them, and there's something that I do romanticize about the adventure of it.
Of course. The lifestyle is addictive.
Oh, of course. Shit. Yeah, the lifestyle is addictive, but fuck the whole drug lifestyle of it. At least if anybody who can relate to using in the sense that they have been in different states and done things and seen things while in active use, I've been everywhere, dude. And I literally became super close with a bunch of Blackfeet Native Americans, in Montana, and got to see their culture. And I'm Native American, so that was sick, and it makes me sad. There's so many people that I'll never probably see again.
Somebody had asked, Brooke, how can I help support my son who is also in recovery without being overwhelming to him? What do you love and appreciate the most about I didn't get the last part. So I guess that question, Brooke, how can I help support my son who is also in recovery without being overwhelming to him?
Let him do his thing. And by that, I mean, don't helicopter over him. I know it's going to be hard because you want to see them do good. You want to see them prosper. But if they're going to relapse, they're going to relapse. And they're not always going to be honest with you about that. No. And you can't spend all your time hyper fixating on, oh my God, when are they going to fucking crumble?
I did.
You know, and yes, you did.
I did. No, I was very bad, and it's hard. Like, you know, it's sad. I mean, when you really think about it, like, they're trying to stay in recovery, and here you are waiting for the ball to drop for them to relapse.
And that might be second by second or day by day. You know, like, I mean, 1 second they might feel solid in their recovery, and then give it a fucking couple hours and all of a sudden something happens. Who knows? I mean, maybe they just feel shitty. You know, mental illness goes hand in hand with, you know, addictive things, I suppose, whether it be drug addiction or anything. I mean, eating disorders, whatever the fuck. But anything can happen, dude. And you just have to live your life, like... I
agree, and live in the moment. Like,
yeah, and when I say your life, like, live your life. Don't try to micromanage their lives, because it's their life. If it snuffs out and they leave, you know, that's, like, and are gone forever, I mean, that's horrible, and it's tragic that happens, but it happens.
I think it's important, I'm sure you would agree with this, to even if they're in recovery, make sure they have Narcan on them. I think that's very important.
Yeah. I carry Narcan on me, and here we are thinking I'm fucking, like, allergic to it.
And so I think, I agree with what she is saying. What do you think about long-term Suboxone or Subutex use?
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Is it a crutch?
No. In my opinion. I mean, because this is all opinion, you know, after all. But, I mean, in my experience, like, for example, back to when I first went into rehab, that was a no maintenance rehab. You know, they did not offer that whatsoever. They didn't even offer it as a taper for withdrawal. I went through it on Klonidine, which didn't do shit for me but dehydrate me and damn near make me want to pass out all the time. But I think that Suboxone and Subutex save lives. Methadone, too. I have my own opinions about methadone, but, you know, like... And mind you, I'm not a fucking professional, but, like, you know,
But you've never been on methadone, right?
I've abused it.
You've tried, okay.
But and that's not why I'm saying I don't think it's bad, you know. I just think it's... From the things that I've been educated on, like, what it does to your body long term, if I would say one for the other, yes, Subutex or Suboxone, if you can afford it, but not everybody can. You know, and not everybody's able to find a program that can help them, afford that. But methadone, I've just seen ravage people's bodies.
I mean, I've had people, though, tell me that, you know, Suboxone didn't work for them at all. But
and if methadone does work for them, then by all means, yes,
really
do that. Like, yeah, what works for you. Like, I mean, really. You know, like, because like I said, like, I'm not a fucking doctor, you know, like, this is just my opinion on what I've seen in my firsthand experience, and I'm just another junkie, dude. Really, I am.
You don't need to talk about yourself like that.
I know, but, I mean, at the end of the day, like...
You're a person, bro.
I am a person, but, like, I know, but I don't want to sit here and speak, like...
Because when you call yourself a junkie, and I think that's important, is that... You know, this is where we talk about stigma. You're even contributing to the stigma by referring to yourself like that. I know you believe that's knowledge based. This next question is really good. How do you handle a boyfriend who is in active addiction? This is from somebody who does not use drugs.
Well, that's a clusterfuck. How do I handle a boyfriend that's in active addiction?
You don't have to answer that.
No, I want to answer it because it's valid. It's hard for me to answer that because I overthink everything, so you have to keep that in mind. This person isn't in active use, isn't an addict.
Just the girlfriend. Mm-hmm.
She should leave him. She should. And let him focus on him, and that's heartbreaking to even say, because, and I'm not going to say I've done that. You know, I have actually, yes, with my son's father. You know, I had to make the decision to leave him because it got out of control. And I did try to stay clean as just the girlfriend, you know, like, and turn baby mama. And I was not enough. My son was not enough. You're not going to be.
I want to chime in on this. I do a lot for Brooke. Like, she's my daughter, though. Like, I'm her mother. To me, there is a difference. If you were to give me a spouse or a partner who did this, I would not stay.
And you shouldn't.
No, I personally would not. Like, this is so hard. You know, people who have lived this. And
I've been on the end of the spectrum where I was clean and had a spouse, like, in active use, and horrible active use. My whole pregnancy, I, like, watched that with the person I was with, and I should have left in the beginning, bro. I really should have. And that's so easier said than done, and I know that. Mm-hmm. I do. And like I said, I'm very codependent. So, like, I know, I really empathize with that. It makes me really sad. Like, I'm still struggling with it, you know? Like, I'm in love with somebody who's also an addict, you know? Like, and we are making the decision now to, like, focus on ourselves. And, you know, we're still together, but, like, you know, we aren't talking. No, you know, no phones. Neither one of us do. But I'm very lucky that I can even do that. You know,
but it
like,
took time to get to that point.
Oh, absolutely. We've been together like over 2 years.
You were very anti giving up phones.
Oh yeah, and because of my other relationships as well, because I thought they would leave me if I couldn't be there for them sexually, if I couldn't be there for them emotionally, if I couldn't be their mom. You know, like, I mean, whether it be because they were in active use or not, and that's not fair to yourself. You know, like, and that's where, like, codependency, like, and it's why a lot of these questions are so loaded, is, like, codependency, get yourself away from it, you know, like, I mean, really, because that's what I'm trying to do day by day right now, you know, and that's why, like, I don't look at the relationship with my mother as codependent, because she's genuinely, like, guiding me, if anything, right now, but that's only because we're both in places in our lives where we're able to do that. It was not that way before.
No, there's no way we could have done what
Fuck no. We couldn't even be in the same room together for more than 3 seconds, dude.
The next question is, I have a 23-year-old in recovery. Do I ask how she is doing in recovery, or let her come to me?
Let her come to you.
Even though she's in recovery? Like, ask
let her come to you, but ask her how she's doing. Like, if she's feeling okay, but don't overdo it.
Don't pressure her.
Don't like
why she's an addict. Don't, you know.
Yeah, but like, definitely not the extremes. You know, any extremes, just don't fucking do that. Like, you know, but let her, you know, especially if she's in recovery, like, most of the time people throw themselves into the recovery community. I am not one of those people. I don't throw myself into any community unless it's like homeless drug addicts. But, you know, I would say let her come to you most of the time, except for, like, you know, yes, make her feel like you care, you know, like, because you do, you know, like, yeah.
Did me meeting you where you are decrease your drug use or how frequently you use?
Definitely not. I was, if not, using more when I left.
Appreciate the honesty. Somebody asked, do you go to meetings?
Fuck no.
And how do you feel about AA, NA?
Sorry, I pace a lot. It works for a lot of people. I do appreciate many aspects of it. I appreciate the community aspect of it. Although I'm not a big community person myself, I would like to be. I'd like to strive to be. Especially with, like, this is almost like it should be its own question, because, like, one thing I should say is that I think there should be more women's and men's meetings.
Separate.
Yes.
I agree.
The 13th step and shit, dude. Knock that shit out of the fucking park, dude. You don't need that. Like, I mean, that's going to fuck you and so many others almost every time. And I've definitely gone to NA and AA meetings thinking about, like, I'm trying to make myself look good, you know? Like, I'm trying to catch somebody's eye, you know? Like, because I'm only there for that, because I'm just trying to fill a void with the men that are in the room. Shit, women too. But, like, I mean, but are you going to find that really in a women's meeting? No, because people really aren't on that bullshit, you know what I'm saying?
No, I think this is good because, at one point I've talked about how I just don't trust the treatment industry, but when I said that if she said she wanted to go to treatment, I wanted to find one that was just women.
No, and that's something I would never have been open to before because I know I would have been working. Like, I would have been healing, and that would have been terrifying. It is terrifying. Would it be something I'd be open to now? Yes, but at the same time, I'm just not in a place where I'm willing to try treatment right now.
And that kind of leads into my other question is, what are your opinions on residential inpatient? Not IOP, not PHP, where people can go.
It is so corrupt. And I know that firsthand. It is not from your influence that I'm saying that. I literally have been in a position where they were trying to send me to Southern Florida, and I'm confident they were trying to Florida shuffle my ass. Like, confident they were. Like, I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it with other patients. Like, I wouldn't have known that they were trying to Florida shuffle my ass if it wasn't for the fact that I was with a girl who had been Florida shuffled, like, who was my roommate. And she was like, literally had a documented poem about selling her ass in Pompano because she had never been that kind of addict, but because they sent her into the thick of fucking fentanyl world, like, I don't know. I don't like residential treatment, but I think that detox is necessary.
I have actually said that. It's funny you say that. And she didn't know about these questions, you guys, just so you know. I wrote them down. I have said I think medical detox has its role, but that medical detox has its role, but not necessarily everyone needs inpatient residential. The treatment industry isn't going to tell you that.
Hello.
Treatment industry isn't going to tell you that you don't need residential because they make their money by getting you into residential. But yes, I think medical detox has its role, especially with benzos and alcohol in particular, because withdrawing alcohol.
Shit, fentanyl too, man.
Yeah,
or heroin, like
it won't kill you.
Yes, correct. It will not kill you, but like I've thought that I could get through. Like, I've been through it cold turkey, but it is just so bad for your mental health, in my opinion. Like, it is. Like, I mean, I have sat there and gone through it cold turkey and just thought to myself every second how bad I wanted to get high for weeks.
I'm sure.
And it was awful. It was terrible.
Broken Mama is another mom on TikTok. Her daughter Star has really struggled and has, I believe she has relapsed. I'm not completely sure, but she had asked a question: how much does shame play a role in use and relapse?
A huge amount. Like, it was shame in what, though? Shame in, like, active use, shame in everything? Because me personally, like, shame in really every conceivable area of my life plays a factor.
I think shame in general and the choices you've made through active use,
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, dude. Like, I mean, and feeling like you're not worth a damn, like, not saying that that's true. It's never true. Not at all. But that's another reason why, like, talking about women's, at least maybe for your situation, I don't know, you or your daughter, but, or her sexual orientation, but, like, whatever works for her to heal, like, and in a way that's not trying to fill these voids, like, go for that. Do all the things you don't want to do, go around the people you don't want to be around, like, make yourself uncomfortable. Not too uncomfortable, though, because there's a difference. So, like, between just, like, making yourself suffer unnecessarily and doing things to help yourself grow as a human being,
Or give examples of how she likes to be supported by her family. And that can be an active use.
Active use, knowing that I'm loved is huge. Knowing that my son hasn't forgotten about me is huge, Knowing that I'm not just contributing to the suffering of my family all the time and that I'm ruining their lives, basically, because that's how you're going to think. At least that's how I think. Like, in that position, like, is a big deal. Like, not feeling like a total outcast of your family and the people that brought you up. Jesus.
All right, you guys, we're gonna have to probably make a few episodes, I think, to answer a lot of questions and dig into some of this stuff. But this kind of gives, I think, a good intro to Brooke and kind of where she is right now. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email me, or you can message me on any of my social medias. And like I said, we'll probably make some type of series out of this. But yeah, do you have anything you want to say otherwise?
Thank you. Like, it still feels weird to think people care about my opinion like this, because it is my opinion. So please keep that in mind. Like, it is just my opinion.
All right, you guys, take care.